May God's peace and blessings be upon us all. The time has come for the people of God to speak to the people of God. God's holy word is the biblical perspective on the times and the events of today, where we come to you on a daily basis in an attempt to educate you, to entertain you, and to evangelize you. We're on a mission to make America righteous, on a mission to make the world righteous. And as always, I ask that you please like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe because if you share the know, then the show will grow. And if you share the know, then the word will go. So let us delve into our topic for today. And on today, we are going to be doing a piece where we educate the public on who exactly some of these content creators are that we are being influenced by and that we are listening to as it pertains to society and the things that are going on in the world and around us all. So, on today's topic, I would like to use Stephen A. Smith. I would also like to talk about Piers Morgan. I would also like to talk about Sabby Sabs. And then I'll close out with what is near and dear to my heart and discuss this pastor. I think her name is Elizabeth Riley. So we'll discuss her at the end as always as we go through our evangelism phase. So let us first have a discussion about Stephen A. Smith. I have to be truly honest with y'all because Stephen A. Smith is a true chameleon like character. Stephen A. Smith is a guy who has, from the beginning up until now, he has masterfully uh, confused me. He has ran a campaign that is of pure confusion. And I will tell you why I think so. Because I believe Stephen A. Smith is a truly confusing fellow, but I believe that at the end, his motivation, his MO, his modus operandi is all about whatever is going to pay the best for him. But the reason why I say that he's a confusing fellow is because I remember before the election, he screamed out, as he always does to this day, from then until now, he says that he's a registered independent. But I vividly remember before the election, he was all Team Harris. And then I saw when the opportunity presented itself post election, after Donald Trump had won, he distinctly switched over and found himself to be pro Donald Trump. And so he rode that Trump train right up until all of those policies and all of those executive orders started coming out. And the people that voted for Trump started feeling the ramifications of the decisions that they made when they decided to vote for him. And so, as a result of those policies, you see, those policies, he was all for Trump when it appeared as though those policies were going to be popular. But you see, when those policies that Trump came out with didn't just hit quite like he thought they should, if you carefully examine Stephen A. Smith, he shifted himself back toward the middle. And so, what I have found about Stephen A. Smith is that he will talk down on the Republicans a little bit, but he will not uh, criticize them enough that he will draw their attention or draw their ire. He will criticize the Democrats a lot more so because, as we all know, today's Democratic Party, they are a weak party. So they usually will not give any response. And due to the fact that they're not in power, he feels as though by continually criticizing the Democrats, that still draws him a little weight, a little leeway, and a little authority on the conservative side to where they're not watching him as much as they should be watching him. But he really doesn't criticize either side extremely hard or over the top. And so now it appears as though everyone is talking in the news about him making a political run. Even the guy who hates him, Jason Whitlock, is talking about Stephen A's political run. But make no mistake about it, Whitlock is pure jealousy, which is why he bases his show, and it appears as though he's basing his life off of the career of Stephen A. Smith because I guess he feels as though he's better than Stephen A. Smith. But that is just what we call uh, in the street hating. So Stephen A. Smith appears as though he's making a political run. I think they're asking everyone around the nation questions about Stephen A.'s political run. It's been brought up to Hakeem Jeffries, and he didn't really say anything to discredit Stephen A. But then you have this guy Carville, who is a Democratic specialist or something of that nature. And I think that he really hit it dead on the head because I find myself in agreement with Mr. Carville. Carville said that Stephen A. didn't know politics from his butt or a hole in the ground. And I agree with that. Although I do agree that Stephen A. does a pretty decent job on some of his sports analogies. Not all of them, but he does a pretty decent job. I think that the attention that he brought to that lane is what has influenced his rise in the sports media department because he is essentially like the newest form of Stuart Scott. And we all remember Stuart Scott, the Godfather, got game like Stewart. And so he is kind of like Stuart Scott's replacement, which is why I feel as though he is in the lane that he is in. But let us be honest. The only people that would be extremely happy with Stephen A. Smith being on the Democratic Party would be whoever is on the Republican ticket running against him, because there is no doubt that they are going to beat Stephen A. Smith. In my David Ruffin voice, ain't nobody coming to see you, Stephen. And now, let us move on to our next topic of discussion for the day, which will be Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan, an especially slimy subject. Because I want us to realize who Piers Morgan truly is. I want us to realize what the agenda truly is for Piers Morgan. I want us to realize that when we look at Piers Morgan, what we are actually looking at. Because Piers Morgan is a slippery smooth opportunist. He is a former, a member of a former great colony kingdom, being from the British Kingdom, the British Empire, but they were all imperialists. They were all colonizers. They were all thieves. They were all people who went into other people's countries and took things that did not belong to them. And to this day, make no mistake about it, Piers Morgan is still a supporter of imperialism and colonization. And he is not concerned about who wins these wars that are going on in the world. He is not concerned as long as he can profit by just throwing material out that actually absolutely makes no sense. Most of the material he puts out is false information, and he never does any form of fact checking on the topics that he uses on his show because it is all meant to be a disruption. It is all meant to be a distraction, which is where I coined that term, distraction politics. And what is happening is that these people that are in the media, they are being paid to essentially be distractions. Piers Morgan is not concerned about who wins in the world, who wins in the wars. He's not concerned about that as long as his check comes correct, because Piers Morgan can live in Saudi Arabia. Piers Morgan can live in Russia. Piers Morgan can live in the UK. And Piers Morgan can live in the USA. As long as whoever's bidding he is doing does not fail to cut that check. Because we must understand that when you sow confusion and chaos, sowing confusion and chaos is very profitable. We must understand that many of the countries in the Western civilization, when they found themselves in poverty situations or in depressions, they went to war. Because again, war is very profitable. And we have to understand that these people are paid distractors, and they are paid to sow confusion and paid to sow deception, and dissolution for the people. They are paid to keep the people upset and keep the people unaware and to keep the people separated and essentially turning on each other. So we must understand what is going on with Piers Morgan. He is a representative from a fallen empire who were the first colonizers, and he supports all things white. Make no mistake about that. Just as he sat on this show and told this lie about when Meghan Markle married that boy, he thought it was the greatest thing ever. Let us be clear about the British and about who they are. He talked about the Queen this and the King that. Well, let us discuss the Queen Elizabeth and the King Charles. Let us discuss these people. These people, the monarchy, they come from a history of being pillagers, plunderers, racists, and thieves. They stole that diamond that's on the crown from India and refused to give it back after Queen Elizabeth dies. That is not just a thief, that is a continual thief. These people were colonizers. These people profited from the slave trade. And to this day, these people still profit from plundering and polluting Africa at every opportunity and every turn that they get. These people represent who Piers Morgan is, or better yet, he represents them because this is where Piers Morgan came from. So when he sits on his shows and tells you these lies, you must understand every bone in his body is disingenuous, and there is not a truth bone to be found in his body. And now let us roll to the next topic, because this lady is actually a pretty intelligent lady. She's an intelligent podcaster, talented reporter, and I can tell that she truly does her work. And so I give her credit because I saw her. I think her name is Sabs. And I must admit that I saw a piece that she did earlier last week, and the piece was on Hakeem Jeffries. And I have to give her credit because she did an outstanding job on that hit piece that she did on Hakeem Jeffries, which shows that she has a good research team and she really takes the job seriously. She gets good information and she has good facts that goes along with the pieces that she did. And so I'll give credit where credit is due because she does that. Stephen A also does good research. Some of the things that he says concerning politics are kind of disturbing, or they just let you know that he's out in left field. But realistically, if you pay attention to the things that he says, it lets you know what he's being paid and played to say. Piers Morgan, make no mistake about it, he's going to do and say whichever way the money is going to flow for him, those are going to be the points that he's going to throw up. And Sabs has also fallen into the exact same lane because these people, they are paid distractors. So let me try to explain that. Let me try to coin that new phrase of distraction politics. They want to distract you for you to not be aware of the fact that the price of eggs are up. They want you to be distracted from the fact that inflation is up. They want you to be distracted by the fact that deportations are down. And I guess that's actually a good thing with the deportations going down because essentially they made a big fuss about it and put it all on the news so that the people will be attracted to that. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to Trump and Dr. Phil and the border czar going around the country videoing all these people they're snatching out of churches. They wanted you to be focused on that. But the kicker is that we're talking about distraction politics. Because while you were focused on all of that going on the TV, you were losing track of all that money that Elon and Donald Trump are stealing over here on the side that nobody is paying attention to. And that is truly the job of distraction politics. They want you to not be aware of what is going on around you. And so that's a good thing on the deportation side for the Brown Society. who is right now they're in peril. They're up in arms against everybody. It seems as though it is the Latino community versus everybody. So you guys can relax a tad bit now because Trump was just doing all that stuff on TV for show and for glow. He had no intent on really, truly deporting all of those people because he knew for a fact that it would bankrupt the economy. And not only that, the bigger factor is that deporting of those people was going to hurt some of Donald Trump's businesses. And you can be quite well aware that he is not going to do that. But you see, the purpose of these paid distractors, the purpose of the Stephen A. Smiths, the purpose of the Piers Morgans, the purpose of the Sabby Sabs is that they are paid to distract as many people as they can from what is really going on in this world. Sabby Sabs did a piece this week where she talked about Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries is part of the Boule ruling class. Okay. Hakeem Jeffries used to wear a dashiki. Okay. Hakeem Jeffries' father was a Pan Africanist. Okay. Hakeem Jeffries' family is known for civil rights activation. Okay. Hakeem Jeffries this, Hakeem Jeffries that, Hakeem Jeffries left, Hakeem Jeffries right, Hakeem Jeffries up, Hakeem Jeffries down. But the bigger question that I want to know as a citizen of the United States is who cares about what Hakeem Jeffries is doing? Because if I am not mistaken, Hakeem Jeffries is a Democrat. If I am not mistaken, the Congress is being ran by Republicans. If I am not mistaken, Hakeem Jeffries is a Democrat. If I am not mistaken, Senate is being ran by the Republicans. If I am not mistaken, Hakeem Jeffries is a Democrat. If I am not mistaken, the majority of the judges on the Supreme Court are Republicans. If I am not mistaken, Hakeem Jeffries is a Democrat. And once again, if I am not mistaken, the President of the United States is a Republican. So, Sabby Sabs, do not attempt to distract the public, to distract American citizens, and to distract and deflect us all away from what is really going on in the country today. Who cares about what Hakeem Jeffries is doing? He ain't running nothing. Why don't you do a report with all that good research that you have and figure out where Elon hid this $2 trillion he's talking about that he saved the United States of America? Where is this $2 trillion that they said that administration saved, and where is that money going? If you really want to do a good piece, a piece that people truly care about, tell us, the United States citizens, tell us what the people who are in charge, not the people who are on the sideline making noise, tell us what the people who are in charge, what they are doing. Tell us where that money has went. But of course, Stephen A. Smith and Piers Morgan and Sabby Sabs, they will not do that for you, which is why I say to you, please like, share, and subscribe because God's holy word is the new and the true media, where we will tell you nothing but the truth. This is the new and the true media. And as always, let us discuss the main thing for today and let the main thing be the main thing. I wanted to discuss this preacher. I think her name is Elizabeth Riley. What denomination she is, I'm not quite exactly sure, but I'm sure that she could be Googled. But she made a statement, and it was a podcast live, and it was really a distracting and distractful and distasteful statement for anyone who proclaims themselves to be a preacher to make. And I say claims themselves to be a preacher because the comments that she made and the knowledge that she shared and the belief system that she has clearly identifies that not only is she not a preacher, she probably is not a Christian. Because I saw the clip where the woman said that she disagreed with the way that Jesus treated the Syrophoenician woman. She said that it made her cringe. Her exact words was that it was cringe worthy. And her rationale and reasoning for it being cringe worthy is because it was not the form of Christianity that she wanted to see represented. In fact, her exact words were, that's not the way that she wanted to present the gospel. And so the question falls into place of where does she get off feeling as though she has the right to tell God how to present the gospel. She also does not believe that Jesus was anything more than a man. She does not believe that Jesus is God. She is a typical example of someone who wants to be blessed, or a person who wants all of the blessings that God can provide, but they don't want the blesser, meaning they want God's gifts, but they don't want to deal with God. And if you proclaim yourself to be what you say you are, then I would think that you would know better. I would think that you would understand that the creation is not greater than the creation. I think you would understand, especially as a pastor, that you which you say you are, especially as an under shepherd to God's sheep, that you would question God. You would question the word, that you would question who has the authority between yourself and God. And if you're asking those type of questions, if you're making these type of statements, and if the way that you feel about Jesus is the way that you truly feel, it is quite apparent to me, Miss Elizabeth Riley, that you are not a preacher. Because at the very least, you oughta know better. We're on a mission, everyone, to make America righteous and on a mission to make the world righteous. So, as always, I would like to deliver you another verse for another day on this earth. Let us go to Isaiah at chapter 45. Isaiah at chapter 45. Isaiah at chapter 45. Isaiah at chapter 45. And let us start at verse 5. Isaiah chapter 45 at verse 5. And it reads on this wise: I am the Lord, and there is none else. There is no God beside me. I girded thee, though thou hast not known me, that they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none beside me. I am the Lord, and there is none else. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Drop down, ye heavens, from above, and let the skies pour down righteousness. Let the earth open, and let them bring forth salvation, and let righteousness spring up together. I, the Lord, have created it. Woe unto him that striveth with his maker. Let the potsherds strive with the potsherds of the earth. Shall the clay say to him that fashioned it, what makest thou? Or thy work? He hath no hands. Woe unto him that saith unto his father, what begettest thou? Or to the woman, what hast thou brought forth? Thus saith the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, and his Maker: ask me of things to come concerning my sons, and concerning the work of my hands, command ye me. Amen, amen, and amen. What this pastor should have been telling the congregation, or what this, let us say, alleged pastor should have been telling her congregation, is that we are the creation. God is the creator. We are what's been made. God is the maker. We must understand that God does not have to be more like man. God does not have to be more like us. We have to be more like God, and we have to be more Christ like. Please like, share, and subscribe, because if you share the know, the show will grow. And if you share the know, then the world will go. God's holy word. May God bless you and keep you.